Hi everybody, Tiffany Epiphany here. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Um, for those of you who are just now tuning in and are interested in my IVF journey, thank you so much for stopping by. But I am going to ask you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also hit that notification bell so that you can get all of the alerts when I upload new content. For my returnees, hey y'all, hey, and thank you so much for coming back. So it has been over a month since I filmed my last video, and at that time I was sharing with you all that I had just had my transfer, my embryo transfer, which was on November the 18th. And I will tell you, I have been recording since then, but unfortunately, since the last time I filmed and pretty much up until now, I have had so much on my plate. And I won't even say this is stuff that has been like external. If you get my drift, it has really been emotional. And I firmly believe, after just sitting with myself and exploring what is it about, I just feel like I had so much going on with my IVF journey, with my business, trying to wrap things up for the end of the year, with the holidays coming up, with my son's birthday coming around again, November the 15th. His birthday had passed. It was just so much emotionally going on, and I just felt like arrested, and I just couldn't do much more than record the videos. Literally, I would record a video and think about uploading and doing all of the thumbnails and stuff like that to get something out for you guys, and I would just get drained. I would get so emotionally drained, like, oh my gosh, I could definitely be doing these applications for my job. I could definitely be doing, there was just a myriad of things that was going on in my mind, and I just was like, yeah, no. There was actually one time where I had created everything and went to go upload it, but I was reviewing it before I uploaded it, and it was all janky and jacked up, and I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I think honestly from here on out, I am just going to go with the flow of how much energy I would like to put into the presentation part of it, and if I am in a rested state, if I'm in a creative state, if I am in a state where time isn't of the essence, then of course I will put my all in all into it. But if I feel like, you know what, I really don't have the time, or I'm just tired, I just don't feel like it, then straight videos it is. And so I had to come to the place of understanding that I don't have to be perfect all the time. I don't have to be 100% all the time. And I think that just shows my humanity, and it also just shows where I am in this journey, that this journey is rough, it is tiresome, it is up and down. And let me just go ahead and jump in with why that is so. I had my transfer on the 18th. I was testing every day, and this is something that I wasn't sharing with anyone. I was testing every day from the day that I transferred, because I wanted to see a pregnancy line progression. And up until 6 days post transfer, I was getting negative tests. Mind you, I was utilizing the strips, the test strips, which you can get like 25, 50. They come in like amounts of like 25, 50, 100, and it's like 10, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, something like that. So I was using those because I was not going to break the bank on a whole bunch of pregnancy tests. And all of them were negative. And I got to this place of discouragement. I was very discouraged. And this is where you can see why I probably wasn't able to post as much, because again, I was going through that emotionally, which weighed a lot on me. And so I was starting to get really discouraged. And I remember the one particular morning on the 6th day, I tested, it was negative. And I just, went in my room and I boohoo cried. And after my cry, I journaled and, I just kind of sat with myself to see what was it that I was feeling and experiencing. And I was immediately encouraged, because from what I was experiencing, I started having flashes and visions of my friends and my family and my ancestors, who all are rooting for me, who all are supporting me, who all are happy for me, are carrying me along in this journey. And what that cemented for me was this feeling of gratitude. No matter what comes of the situation, I was grateful, I was happy, and I had, and in having that, meaning that support, I can conquer anything, I can do anything. So after I had my cry, after I did my journaling, I was like, I could take on the world, no problem. And then I left the house that morning, headed to work. I'm on the highway, I'm driving, and as soon as I get off on the exit where my office is, I heard a voice said, "Don't give up on me." And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, that is my future child speaking to me. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Walgreens. I'm gonna go to Walgreens and I'm gonna actually buy like a early detection pregnancy test. So went to the store. I got the test. I came to the office. The store is like right across the street from my office. I came to the office, and I went immediately to the bathroom. I took the test, and there was nothing. And so I was just like, okay, that's fine, no problem. I had a jacket on. It's cold, so I had a jacket on, and of course I didn't want to walk out the bathroom with the stick in my hand. So I put it in my pocket, came in my office, put my things down. I am actually getting ready for my own therapy session before the day begins, before my work day begins. And I took the test out my pocket to actually put it in my purse. Because I was like, well, actually, now that I think about it, I know, I take that back. I didn't go straight to the bathroom. I came in the office. I put my purse and my lunch bag down first. That's right. I did that first, and then I went to the bathroom, because I don't like taking I'm just not going to take my lunchbox in the bathroom. So yes, I came in the office first, sat myself down, then I went to the bathroom, took the test. Then I came back. So when I came back and I was getting settled to have my therapy session, I took the test out. I was taking it out to put it in my purse, and then I looked at it again, and I saw that there was a faint line. Yes, there was a faint line. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I actually have video recording of that. But yeah, so I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this really it? This is really it? This is really it? This is really it? So the pack that I had 3 tests in them. So I immediately jumped back up. I probably had like maybe 15 minutes or so before the next appointment, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to take another one. And I eventually take another one, and again, there is a faint line. I go into my session, and I can't even contain myself because I have this news. And so I immediately tell my therapist that I have a positive pregnancy test. I tell her about the whole experience that morning, about just feeling so defeated and having that chat with self and feeling encouraged and grateful, hearing the voice saying, don't give up on me. I told her everything. And then after that, I shared with my sisters and my mom. And yes, and one of my good friends, I shared with them. But it was positive, you guys. It was positive. So that day when I went home, I actually looked, because I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, the strips, they probably don't catch the amount of HCG that was in my urine. Probably wasn't, you know, detectable with those strips. But of course, it picked up on the pregnancy test that I got from Walgreens, because it's an early detection pregnancy test. So I went back home and I was like, let me take a look at this. And sure enough, I looked back at the strips and actually there was a line. I just didn't see it, or maybe it took a while for it to actually come up. Now, as they say, you're not supposed to look at it after about 3 minutes or something like that. But I truly believe that sometimes it just does take time for, you know, the dye to kind of build that line or whatever. And sometimes you can miss it if, you know, if you don't give it maybe a little bit more time. So it was positive, and I found that out the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which, oh my gosh, my Thanksgiving miracle, right? Again, thinking about the gratitude and, you know, what the season means, gratefulness, gratitude. And I was so excited. So my beta test, which is the test that they do to see how much HCG is in your blood, was scheduled for that following Tuesday. So went and got that done and found out that my HCG level was very low. And so they said that since it was low, they wanted to send me in again to have a repeat draw in 2 days to see if the number doubles. If it doubles, then, you know, we're good to go. So went that Thursday. Yes, went that Thursday. So that was a Tuesday. I initially had it done. It was low. That Thursday, I went again, and it doubled. Yes, it doubled. And they said it's still on the low end. Even though it doubled, it's still on the low end. So we want you to go again for a third one. So I went that Saturday, very early in the morning. I had it done. And I did not, with the other 2 test results, they let me know something within the day. So the lab order was stat, which means ASAP. And each day that I took the test, I took it early in the morning. I knew something by 3 p.m., something like that. Well, Saturday, seeing as the lab closes at noon, I believe, I anticipated that I probably wouldn't hear anything from them that day. But at the latest, Monday morning, Monday afternoon. Y'all, when I tell you, I wrecked my brain the entire weekend and all day Monday worrying about them daggum tests. Well, not tests, the test, because I didn't see anything in the portal come up. I hadn't heard anything from my nurse, and I was quite anxious. And it had me go into like this downward spiral of Googling about HCG levels, Googling where they should be, Googling what are the success rates, and all this kind of stuff. Things that just were not helpful to my mental wellness at all whatsoever. And that was, I will say, a part of this journey that I wish I could do over, but it's done, and I've learned the lesson that allowing myself to go into that space is just not a good thing. It really isn't. So Anyway, drained and bummed out by that. Tuesday comes around, and I reach out to my nurse because by that afternoon or so, I still hadn't heard anything, still didn't see anything on the Quest portal about my results. And I'm like, hey, I haven't heard anything about my results. What's up? Like, should we call them? What's next? And she was like, oh, she emailed me back within the hour and was like, well, I have your results right here. And my numbers had gone up. However, they didn't double. And she said it's still on the low end. And seeing as that, but it did go up. So we're going to move forward with bringing you in for an ultrasound. So my ultrasound was on the, when did I have my ultrasound? So that was the December 16th. I think my ultrasound was on the 16th. Last Thursday. And I'm of course on pins and needles because I'm just like, oh my gosh. Oh, because this is of course where they will see, they should see a heartbeat and everything like that there. So I'm on pins and needles. I go into the office. I'm sitting there. I feel my heart like busting out of my chest. I feel myself starting to hyperventilate. I feel all the feels. And so I was brought back in the room. Of course, I derobed or whatever. And I had about maybe 15% battery life left on my phone. And I was like, you know what? I had it prepared to video, the sonogram or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Nope. I'm just going to have to burn through my 15% because I need something to calm me down. And so I plugged in my AirPods and I, put in some relaxation music from YouTube. And I just sat there and I just listened to the music. And I was in the room for about a good 30 minutes before the doctor even came. So for about 20 of those 30 minutes, I was just listening to that calming music and just breathing deeply and just speaking life into myself and affirming myself and everything like that. And so doctor comes in, he of course tells me congratulations and I'm excited. He asked me how I feel and I say I'm nervous, and he was like, understandable. And he's like, but what about symptoms and things of that nature? Do you feel pregnant? I was like, really, I don't. With me having a history of hyperemesis, I know by this time I would start feeling some nausea, some pretty consistent, steady nausea. But I told him that I'm not feeling that, and when I do feel it, I'm not really sure if it's nausea or if it's my nerves because I've been, very nervous lately. He was like, understandable. What about any breast pain or breast tenderness or anything? And I said, yeah, I do feel a little bit, but not anything overwhelming. So I lay back, I scoot down, and I feel the cold gel, and not even 15 seconds into me lying there, the doctor says, unfortunately, I have some bad news. And in that moment, there was I'm really trying to search for the word that best describes the experience, but there was just a rest that happened. There was a calm, there was a rest, there was a knowing. That's what it is. There was a knowing. And with that knowing, I was able to relax just a little bit. I think for a moment I retreated into myself and then I came back out. And it happened so fast, y'all, but it was you know how things happen fast but it feels slow. And so I retreated into myself. I had that knowing. I retreated into myself. There was this calm. Then I came back out, and then I could hear what the doctor was saying, that the embryo collapsed on itself. That's what I did. I heard that, and then he began to take a look at my ovaries, and he said something to his assistant, and the next thing you know, everything was over. The next thing you know, I was sitting up, the assistant was gone, and the doctor was sharing with me that he was so sorry that this had happened, and giving me instructions on what's going to happen next. And I will say in this part, and I am getting a little emotional right now because I know we hear stories, and I've experienced this myself. We hear stories about doctors kind of just being callous and cold and standoffish and removed, and not really showing much empathy. But I feel like my doctor was very much empathetic, and I'd like to think that he knew I was hurting, even though I was trying to hold it together, even though there was this calm, but there was still a part of me that was quite disappointed. I think he saw that I was trying to hold it together, and I know that he wanted to say something to make things right, but he just knew that he couldn't. And really the only thing that he could do was his job, and that was to tell me that unfortunately this pregnancy did not make it, and here are the next steps. So and this is how I sorry I hadn't got to this part yet, but this is also how I know that my doctor really knew how I was feeling. Is he got up as he was getting ready to leave the room. He got up and he's like, I'm just so sorry again. And he was like, I want to give you a hug. And I needed that. I needed that hug. I know sometimes when people experience loss, they want to know answers. They want to scream. They want to, blame people. They, and all of these are natural things. All of these are acceptable things, right? We want to scream. We want to be angry. We want to place blame. We want answers. These are all things that we know are just a part of this process and a part of how things go. It's a part of the grief process, really. It's not out of the ordinary to experience these things, is what I'm getting at. But I needed that hug, and I'm so forever grateful for that hug that he gave me, because I needed that like I needed air to breathe in that very moment. And so after I got my hug, he left the room, and of course I collapsed. I collapsed, maybe a bit dramatic, but I did start crying. And I just allowed myself to cry for about a good 3 to 5 minutes, which that's a long time. I'm sitting in a room in a doctor's room, or doctor's office rather, in one of their exam rooms. But I let out the tears as much as I could at that moment, and I got myself together and I left. And I had already planned out a an activity to do. Because my thing was, if it's good, I have an activity to celebrate. If it's not, I have an activity to kind of just honestly distract me. That is the honest to God truth, just to distract me. And so after I left, I left the parking lot of the office, and I actually like went like literally up the street to another plaza parking lot, and I just sat and I cried and I recorded. um, and then I got myself together. I said, all right, well, I'm gonna get something to eat, and I had a movie planned. I'm gonna go get something to eat, and I'm gonna watch my movie, and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do after that. So went, got something to eat. I do remember being in the restaurant and just being on the verge of tears on multiple occasions, because it was just it's like pieces of what was happening kept flashing back, and it caught me off guard, and I'd be arrested by the emotions, and trying to hold it in, and trying to be present and enjoy my salad that I was eating. And yeah, I just trying to hold it together, because I just don't want my waitress to come over and be like, honey, what's wrong, you okay? And then have to tell her, I just found out that I'm pregnant, but I'm not. So I finished up my meal, went to the movies, and as I'm driving home, I am, how like, I don't know, well, I'll just explain what I'm experiencing, and maybe this will resonate with you, maybe not, but I just felt like the closer I got to home, the closer I got to reality. It's like when I got home, reality would really set in. And if I haven't already mentioned this before, me and my dad lived together, and I had already texted my family and my close friends that unfortunately the embryo stopped growing, so everybody already knew. I'd already shared with everybody that I'm just going, go have lunch and a movie. I'll holler at y'all later. And so everyone knew. I get home and I get this overwhelming expansion in my chest. And it's like this swelling, this swelling, this expansion in my chest, and the tears are just falling. And the only thing I wanted to do was run into my dad's room, which luckily his door was already open anyway, but just run into my dad's room and just collapse on his chest. And that's exactly what I did. I made a beeline straight to his room, and I said, Daddy, I just need a hug. I just need a hug. And he said, oh, baby, I've been thinking about you all day. I've been thinking about you all day. And I just laid on his chest, and I just cried. I cried. I can't tell you like how wet my dad's chest was from my tears, because I cried. I let it out. But there was relief in that. There was relief in me just letting it out. There was relief in me just being vulnerable and telling my dad what it is that I needed, because it was so apparent that that's what I needed anyway, based on what I had experienced in the doctor's office when my doctor offered to give me a hug. I was like, whew, that feels great. And so after I got my hug, I went in my room and put my stuff up and got myself together for the night. And I journaled. And surprisingly, and at that time, I can say surprisingly, now I have a different perspective because I have sat with it a little bit longer, and I've come to a place of understanding what that was about. But at the time, I just felt so calm and content. I was just like, okay, this has happened. Okay. Um, for a couple of days after, I kind of really sat with myself like, okay, girl, like, you all right? Like, what's up? You're not gonna snap on me now, Asia. Um, but I was like, girl, no. Like, what are you talking about? I'm good. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And as I became curious as to what that was about, it was only until, was it yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, that I came to the place of understanding who that was that showed up with that calm presence, who showed up with that contentment, who showed up with that level of certainty that made it so that I could sleep that night. And let me tell you what that was. That was the part of me that knew. And that's exactly how it came up when I thought about it yesterday or the day before. I said to myself, she knew. I'm laughing because I'm just reflecting on how I came to this place. But she knew. Like, in other words, there was a part of me that knew. I knew. I knew from the beginning that this was going to be the outcome. And there was, I believe, even though there was a part of me that was very hopeful, there was a part of me that was rooting for myself, there was a part of me that was being very positive, there was a part of me that was being very grateful, there was also a part of me that knew that this pregnancy was not going to be viable. And I think all of the other parts were like, girl, you don't know everything, you don't know it all. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, I, you know some things, but you don't know everything. And not that I am, uh, what am I trying to say? Not that I am dismissing them for feeling how they felt. In other words, you know, they shouldn't have felt that way, because I do believe that, you know, being grateful, being hopeful has its place in my life. But I just think I overly relied on them during this process. Again, so much so that I just, you know, in certain days I just couldn't function because I was just hoping so much, and I was, you know, just hoping so much that things would change, that the outcome would be different, and that I would be that one, when really there was a part of me that knew that this pregnancy was not going to be viable. She knew. The part of me that knew that 2-3 days before that I should have been like daggum near not able to function because of, you know, she knows my body. She knows that how my body responds during pregnancy. But the hopeful part of me said, but not every pregnancy is the same. And, you know, maybe you won't experience the hyperemesis this time around. But the part of me who knew, or who knew that my body wasn't responding in a way that indicated pregnancy. So I am proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that there's a part of me that's so connected with me that it will tell me the it will tell me what it knows. It will tell me the truth. It will be straightforward with me. And I even though I'm not really keen on how I came to be acquainted with this part of me, in other words, the part of me that knows. I don't know that I'm too happy that I had to meet her in this circumstance, but what this process has shown me is that she's very much ever present in my life, and that she is someone that's not going to steer me in the wrong direction. So I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but I think it's still very important that I share that with you all, because with this process, there's so much, I feel like for me, there's so much intentionality, and there's so much that goes into this when it comes to emotions and when it comes to, my physical. I really have to listen to my physical. I really have to be tuned into my emotional. So, and I've been talking about this entire time throughout my journey, and how I've really been cultivating my emotional wellness, cultivating my physical wellness, because I know what's ahead, and what I've been experiencing is very much taxing on me emotionally and physically. So I'm glad that I could still have that connection with this part of me, even amidst the emotional up and down and the physical up and down. So I'm grateful, y'all. I am really in a good place. I am okay. My friends, the ones who I did share it with, my family, they have checked in on me. I am thankful for them, and I've just shared with them, y'all, I am in a good space. I really am, and I'm not saying that just to be like, I'm in a good space. I'm really not dismissing any uncomfortable emotions with, I'm in a good place. I'm not at all. I'm not trying to bottle anything. I'm not trying to cover anything. This is the truth. I am in a good space. So, where I am now is I am waiting for my body to register that the pregnancy is not viable, and I've stopped medications. I stopped medications last Thursday, and so waiting for medications to kind of leave my system. And what I will have to do is get blood draws every week until my HCG goes down to 0. My nurse advised me that I should start my cycle within the week. So from last Thursday, today is Monday, so it's I haven't started, TMI, but whatever. I should start one sometime this week. And I am jumping right into the next cycle. When I was with my doctor, he said, he assured me it's nothing that you've done. There's nothing wrong with you. Your lab work was beautiful. It's the embryo. It's unfortunately, procreating is a very sensitive process, and there are just some embryos that we create that are just not viable. And that is something that I knew from the beginning, because even when I had my medication teaching with my nurse, she advised me that I did have 14 embryos, but just want to let you know that all of them may not be viable. You have the, I don't know why, and this might not be the right words, but the morphology or the the phenotype. Yeah, the phenotype of the embryo. In other words, what it looks like. It may look great, which all of my embryos look great, but they can't speak to the genetics of it all. So it's just like you can look at me and I look great, I look perfect, but you wouldn't know that I have a few gene mutations. Maple syrup urine disease. I have a genetic mutation, or I have that gene. And you'll see in my genetics results video what that's all about. But anyway, my point is when you look at me, you don't see that. But that is something that I possess in my genetics. And if I were to procreate with someone who has that gene as well, then that child unfortunately would not live past 1 year old. So my doctor assured me, hey, you've got 12 left. One of them is in there. And typically, well, I won't say typically. I really don't know how people choose it or not, but or the percentages of people that choose this or not. But there is genetic testing of embryos that you can do to know whether they are genetically fit or not. I chose not to do that only because it is a lot of money. And I just feel like I want to take a chance on just transferring and seeing what happens. I did, however, go back to that. Like, maybe I should go ahead and just genetically test them and see. That way we can get rid of the ones that aren't appropriate, keep the ones that are. So I'm still entertaining that. I don't know. But I recently got my new cost sheet, and I was like, so my cost sheet is how much this next transfer is going to be. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. We might have to put that genetics testing on the back burner and just go ahead and try our luck. So I am in a good place. I really am. I know I'm saying that repeatedly, but I am in a good place. I am, like I said, I got my new cost sheet. I am looking to do my second transfer in February. So fingers crossed, we will come across that that chosen embryo in the next transfer. And if not, then we will go to the next. But I am definitely learning to trust myself during this process. I really am. And I am grateful. I'm still grateful for my family and my friends and for you all who have been so supportive of me during this process. And I'm looking for more ways to be grateful for where I am. And my greatest prayer, my greatest desire is that I take my baby home next year. That is my prayer. That is my desire. So I am so sorry that I have neglected you all for the past month. And I hope that you are understanding of my why and what has been going on. But I'm actually glad that I honored myself and didn't push myself to do something that wasn't comfortable or that just felt pressed. And I could come to you now and give you a almost 45-minute video of me really sharing my heart. Like, this is my heart. This is what it is. So that is it, you all. Don't give up. For those of you who have experienced a failed transfer and you are contemplating moving forward again, I will encourage you to continue. I know that there may be some extenuating circumstances like finances. I know in my case, I don't have IVF coverage, so finances are an extenuating circumstance for me, but I am working on that. But yeah, you guys keep going, keep trying. It will come one day. Keep hoping, keep wishing, keep praying, keep wrapping yourself in positive energy. Keep a supportive tribe with you to uplift you. And yeah, that's it. I feel like I'm rambling now. So thank you all for tuning in. I love you guys so much. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who have questions, and that's what this is all about. It's me, of course, chronicling my journey, but it's also hopefully to get some inspiration from you guys, but to also inspire others. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all tune in the future. See you in 2022. Bye.